Marvin. All right, it's looking pretty good. See if I can hear myself. Yes, yes I can. Awesome. I'll just make a group with the other guys real quick. I'm gonna add John. I'm gonna add Motown. They don't have to join right away because we are a little bit early. Just making sure this is working. Hello, hello.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, just making sure it's all good, and yeah, we can hear each other on the stream, so that's good.
Cool. Hey Marvin. Great. Gonna finish a bunch of stuff up here. Is the stream up already?
Yeah, we started early just a bit to see if there were any issues, and it seems to be good.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, today has been busy, man. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it seems like it's every day. I'm always just running all over the place all day.
The coding, it's hard. Like it's
pretty intense. But it's some really cool systems we have. I mean, they're a bit of a pain to work with when you're new to them, but you know, after a little while, it gets easier and easier the more experience you get with it. But the systems we have, all of our technologies are like just top notch. I mean, it's really neat.
Mm.
We're just hiring another person right now, so I'm doing that while I'm watching a stream.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
We have a new artist by the name of Dan, who seems really good. I'm quite impressed with what he's done.
Nice.
What am I looking at here? It looks like I have no idea what you're up to, Marvin.
Motown gave him the task of doing, I think, a street wall.
Oh, right, that's right. So I'm guessing this is for scaling.
Yeah.
See, I am not an artist, so yeah. The whole process here.
Yeah, we definitely have a long lineup of artists to go through this week, next week, and hopefully beyond, especially when around Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely excited to see. I mean, we've already seen a lot in the Discord of what people have been doing. And it's nice that we have this chance to show off more work that we've been doing.
For sure. Okay, so I see here.
References.
Yeah, if I remember right, Sean was saying he wanted a double-sided light post. I don't know if that's what is being done here now, but yeah, it was like a post that would go in the middle on like the median of a road, and then a light would hang it to one side and to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Spot on.
My whole reaction. Oh, there he goes. I just realized now it's going to be delayed to everybody watching that. So.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I heard that maybe you have to get some references over to what was his name, Alexander, something to do with the DMC building.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's taking the building label as DMC. To the Americans, think more a DMV. To get an idea of what that is basically a building that or a government office is going to handle your licensing. Yeah, and it's not just for vehicle licensing either. It's the same area will handle licensing for the majority of things. I mean, you'll get your fishing license there.
That's
that kind of thing. Yeah. So that building there, we have it. It's one of the first ones that we had done when we started with the town square environment. So if you ever see screenshots of like the original town square, it's all flat, you know, the one that the concept art, basically our first town square concept art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when that was done, we found that it just wasn't up to what we wanted. So we're slowly going through there when we have the time, and we're just redoing the buildings and the structures in there to make them like more up to the standards that we're looking for.
That's
And
good.
there's big differences. I don't know if you probably saw the change from the city hall building, right? So there's a before and after that. And so going from the old one to the new, and it's just night and day differences. So all of our artists that we have right now are extremely skilled.
Mm.
Marvin too. Marvin's been for a long time. I mean, I think he might be one of the most senior artists that we have working with us right now. There's only one more, I think, who's been with us longer.
Wow. Yeah, how many artists are on our team right now, would you say?
Oh, geez, a lot. Like, I don't know, a dozen, somewhere around there.
Wow.
But, you know, they're all different kinds, right? So Marvin
Mhm.
here, Marvin's an environment artist. He does a lot of this kind of things. He did a lot of interior work. The whole, you know, the bar scene where we have the
Yeah.
karaoke, Marvin did all of that. I mean, all of it. Every piece inside that room. And you know, tons more too. Actually, when Marvin started, I believe I remember right, he was a furniture guy. He did like a lot of the furniture that we have for the of the apartments. So he doesn't. I don't think he does tons of that nowadays. He's more of a more environmental, but very
Mhm.
nice stuff. If you remember back on the video that we put out of the apartment stuff, there was that big. There's a sofa, and there was like a marble table, coffee table. He did both of those. Those are two like my favorites. Really nice.
Cool. Yeah, in yesterday's stream with Motown, we were going over all the software that is part of 3D modeling, and man, there must have been at least like 6 different things. And the licensing for them too. It's crazy how much money like Maya and things like that can cost.
Yeah. See, when you think about game development, most people don't really think about all these different problems because different artists like different software. To us, we don't really mind. We don't really care so much about what people use as long as the end result is the same, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to go. 3D and just the modeling alone, there's half a dozen different solutions you can use. And when you get into texturing, it's the same thing all over again. Different people like different things.
Mhm.
So we have to keep like libraries of all these. This one that he's using now, Moto, I think it's called.
Yeah, in the top left, I think I see Moto.
Yeah, I'm not an artist, so I don't really know what I'm talking about here. But this is one of those systems that is an older program, but it used to really stink pretty bad, and it's like they really expanded on it and made it a lot better recently. So this is one of those things that you don't see tons of people using, even though it is actually really nice. It's just most of the modelers that we have tend to use 3D Studio. So like the vast majority, I'd say.
Mhm.
And it's not that one's even really better than the other. It's just, they all have very different interfaces, and get used to one is probably hard to move into other ones. Like, I mean, when I see these guys doing anything in 3D Studio, I don't know what's going on because it seems like that program is 80% keyboard shortcuts. So,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, it's just a mess. I really hate the look of 3D Studio's UI. I don't know how anybody works in that thing.
But yeah, Motown should stop by in the chat soon. Just having a bit of a coughing fit, which is unfortunate, but you sounded pretty good yesterday. We went through a lot of stuff from like the day and night cycle, I think, to law,
Okay.
how the court system, in like a nutshell, the judicial system. So, no questions really yet, but yeah, our, our audio quality isn't the best today, guys, just because Marvin's internet isn't super amazing. We picked a bitrate that was as good as we could get, considering the connection, and he's streaming from Germany right now, so wherever possible. Sorry about that. But yeah, we're audible right now. It's just the latency and all that.
Yeah, you know, it's funny actually. Your voice cut off for me there
Really?
in Skype too. So it's
Oh,
not just a stream.
oh,
Actually, that happened to
jeez.
me.
That's
And the
bizarre.
funny thing is, you are sitting what 30 feet away from me in
Yeah.
another room right
Okay.
now. So
Weird.
yeah, yeah.
I'll try and speak louder and
Little
clear.
Skype. No, it's
Yeah,
not that.
It
You're
might
loud
just
and
be
clear.
Skype.
Yeah, you're perfectly clear. It's just that sometimes it stops. It like cuts out for a minute. So
Okay.
I don't think there's much you can do there.
Fair enough. But yeah, guys, we definitely want to try and get more development streams as we get closer to the announcement of the Module 1 release date. We definitely want to try and get gameplay out as soon as possible, and we are all working really hard on achieving that goal. We will still game occasionally, but we would much rather be playing Identity because, well, A, we're going to be making a game that we all want to play, so we'll be very excited when it's playable, and B, we know that you guys are very highly anticipating it, and so are we. So we're really going to try and get things more oriented towards basically showing where we are at in the game for the next few weeks, and hopefully up until Module 1's release.
Yeah, I really like these dev streams here. I mean, it might not be as intense as watching a game and as exciting, but it is so much more interesting seeing how these guys work. Because I mean, as someone who doesn't do this part for a living, I mean, I always find it so impressive how fast people like Marvin can just go through this and whip it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still be like working for like a sphere or a disk right now at the base and not even knowing what I'm doing. So programming I can do, art not a chance.
Yeah. So what kind of languages are you familiar with? Because I know you've been showing Charles a thing or two in multiple.
Oh my God, I've worked in so many languages over the years. C++ is always the base. C#, I've done a lot of that. Usually for stuff like C#, it's a language that is easy to work in because it's a managed language. So a lot of the stuff that you need to do is already done, you know, by Microsoft, and you just kind of have to use it. So you can whip things out really fast. So I used to use that a lot for things like utility programs that run maintenance stuff. You know, it's not as fast to execute as something like C++. It's all compiled natively, so it's not ideal for game development, really.
Okay.
Things like Unity, though, Unity is entirely C# based.
Okay.
Lee saying, "Shut up, John. Your art's good." Yeah, like those paintings I did, right? Those are pretty amazing. The funny thing is with those paintings I do and like those videos is a lot of people have said that they pay a lot of money in game for those.
Oh my goodness.
They're
could be famous when it comes out.
It's so terrible. But oh yeah, geez, I've worked in so many other programming languages. At the last company I worked at, it was a combination of C++ and a language called Unreal Script, which is just for Unreal Engine 3 and earlier. Unreal Engine 2 and 3, I think, used it. Maybe 1. Because we were an Unreal Engine 3 MMO called, Mortal Online. And then a lot of my work there was ActionScript because it drove the UI, Flash-based UI, essentially, which is what we're doing here too.
Okay.
Only what we're doing with Identity is just leagues better software-wise. So we use Scaleform. I guess what Scaleform 2 or Scaleform 3, yeah. With the last game, and now we're running Scaleform 4, which runs off an entirely different language. I mean, there's night and day the stuff that you can do with it versus what I had before. So that's what Charles is working with right now. So if you haven't worked with it before, it sucks. Yeah. Any chance to see a programmer dev stream? Maybe we prefer showing art because it's so much more fun to watch something like this. Like, I don't think you realize how boring programming can be. I mean, it would literally be a stream of a guy sitting there looking at code and, nothing is really going to be happening. It could be hours and hours before anyone hits a compile button. So,
and there's also a bit of a maybe legal issue by showing off things we maybe not want to give away. Some certain algorithms are just how we deal with things. It's kind of like the heart of the game, so it's kind of we keep it close to our chest, Yeah,
you have to be really careful with that sort of thing because what can happen if the wrong code was shown,
Mhm.
then that could open doors to any kind of like exploitation or something too. You don't really want
Yeah.
people to know exactly how it works behind the scenes.
I
Find
see.
the craziest.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yesterday during the Raw League stream, so someone was curious just like how Identity was as like a whole, and Motown gave a very interesting explanation of it being like Altus Life, but on crack. Would you agree?
Yeah, I guess, but it's so much more than that. See, Altus Life, I mean, the reason that we stepped away from that and started making a standalone game is it's just we have so much more control here, so much more ability to do what we want to do. Altus Life is similar in the base level of gameplay, but aside from that, I mean, this is a totally different beast. Like when you're talking about getting into business and that sort of thing, you know, there's so much more here that the fidelity level when it comes to vehicles or, well, I was going to say weapons. Weapons are pretty good in Arma, so I'm not going to go there. We are, I say, actually, our weapon system is very similar to Arma's.
Yeah.
Vehicle-wise, though, my God, they're terrible in Arma. So the physics and everything there. But then just the ability to like go so far beyond everything that you could do in a mod. I mean, things like our cinema, the karaoke, and so on, right? And that's just in the social aspect. But we have a whole instancing system for the player housing. Can never do that in a mod properly.
Yes.
Yeah, even things like robbing the bank or something, where we create like little sort of like combat instances. And, you know, there's no limit to what we can do. If we can think it up, we can make it happen. It's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever people ask me to describe what Identity is, I always have a hard time.
Yes.
Because like, what do you relate it to?
It's
There's
very
nothing out there
difficult.
that you can relate it to.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I say is similar to Grand Theft Auto, and I say that just because people understand the modern setting and stuff, but in so many ways, is gameplay wise is pretty far off that. But the crime is closest to Payday. Payday 2, I say, has a similar system to the mechanics anyway.
Yes.
And maybe toss in some Euro Truck Simulator.
Euro Truck
and
Simulator.
some Arma Combat, and then you have Identity. So there's no one game is like Identity alone. You have to kind of mix a bunch in there.
Yeah, because like even turning back to yesterday's stream when we were talking about the law system, taking someone to court is like kind of a simple concept even in real life. Like it's over a dispute, but it's not been explored in games. Like it's so new, and it's strange how people haven't really taken some of the mechanics we're tackling.
Well, yeah, a lot of the big companies are afraid, right? Because if you have this big studio of 300 employees to pay, you can't really afford to take a risk like that. You have to just stick to what has been proven to be a successful game and work from that.
Yeah.
See, now we don't have the burden there that they do, so we can do a lot of things that they are afraid to do. The bigger studios need to make a lot of money, and that's all it is. It's a business, right?
Yes.
For us, it's a business, but it's also passion. So
for sure,
willing to take those risks. And that said, we know that there's demand for it. We know it work because we've already kind of made it work in another game. So we just have to kind of fix the issues that we ran into in our old mod and grow on top of it. See, that mod was a great learning experience. There's a lot of cool stuff in it, but there's a lot of things that really didn't play that well either.
Yes.
Just more I'd say we had people and how they chose to play it than with the game itself. But now we know we know what people are going to do. We have counters for the behavior that we'd rather not see too much of, right? So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. I think I recall Motown also mentioning yesterday that if you really wanted to get the most out of like Altus or like other Arma 3 mods, it usually resorts to you doing criminal activities, and being a nice guy usually doesn't get you very far or net you very much. But on Identity, there's plenty of options to make a great amount of money. Like if you just want to be a fisherman or something, you don't have to break the law in Identity to be successful, which is something know, it's also one of its unique quirks. It's different. You can just be a normal guy making a living.
Yep. Yep.
There's that option.
That was one of the things. Diversity is one of the main things that we wanted with Identity. We wanted it to be a fun game for all different kinds of people together. So a lot of games, what you're going to run into is they cater to a certain type of person, and then it just like, let me use the last game I worked on, for example, Mortal Online. Okay, it was had a lot of great PvP features in it, but it didn't have much environmental feature. And what happened is it just turned into this big PvP battle arena online with hundreds of people, which is cool. Like, a lot of people love that, but some people don't. And when they go in there, they're just going to throw up all over. They're going to be tired of getting killed and so on. Identity has something for everybody in a way that encourages other people too. What I mean by that is, while you might be in PvP, there's systems in place that are going to encourage you to work with people that aren't like you.
Yes.
Want to drive that interaction between the different kinds of people. And I mean, it's not just that we force you to interact with them, but you'll want to, because you'll have something to gain. For example, like you're saying a businessman. Well, a businessman's going to have access to a lot of things, and he might devote a lot of time into his business, and he's not really doing a lot of the PvP stuff. But that's a route you can go, and you can make tons of money doing that. In fact, there's a very good chance you'll probably have more money than the criminals, right?
Ooh.
I mean, like, think about if you're running like a transportation company or something like that. You get access to things that other people can't get access to, certain vehicles and such. You could get these big trucks, and you could do massive amounts of transportation, things that you can't do if you're just a criminal. Now, that's not to say, though, that if crime's your thing, that you can't get into that because you can work for a corporation like that. You're probably just not going to have the time to manage one. But, yeah. Even there's, a lot of people want to just do that, kind of like sitting there on doing their own thing, living off the land, hunting. Even the hunting system in Identity is really cool. I don't know if we've really shown or talked about that much at all, but it's a really interesting mechanic, because what happens is, using Spatial OS, we have the ability to have things going on in the background. What a lot of people don't realize is that in a traditional MMO, the only way that you could really have these servers not on fire is that a lot of the AI in the world is shut off until somebody gets close to it. So out in the world, the AI is not typically roaming around. That's why it's always in one spot, right? You know where the spawn is. You go there, and you're going to find that AI. Yeah. Because as soon as somebody's out of range of seeing that, they go brain dead. In fact, in a lot of games, you'll find, if you, like, say it's a game with a scope, if you could zoom in a lot of these games, you'll see that they don't move around or anything until you get closer. And that's a performance thing. However, in Identity, the way we're using Spatial OS is we can have servers that do nothing but handle AI.
Wow.
Things like animals. So we can, say in just one little area, say you're in a forest, our servers can actually handle multiple elements in that same space differently. Like, we can have the characters running on one, we could have the AI on another, we could have the trees on another. So there's really, that limitation's kind of gone. And anyway, before I started ranting about all that, my point was the hunting Identity, one of the cool things is, because of that, our animals are able to roam around and do their animal things even when you're not nearby. So, for example, say you're a deer, you're going to be in the forest. A deer will have certain things that it wants to find and go to, like plants or whatever. Now, those deer are going to roam around looking for the things they need. Even if no one's anywhere nearby. The cool thing is that they leave tracks, they leave droppings and stuff in their path as they go. So you, as a hunter, you're going to be able to use that sort of thing to actually track these. So it's not just going in like knowing, oh, you know what, over here in the forest I know deer spawn. It's not that in Identity. Is you go into the forest and you literally track it, find it. Might find it on, like, drinking from water, which is why we showed it, a deer drinking from water, in our Kickstarter video. Like, nice. These animals actually go after things they need. And yeah, you shoot them, and then it comes down. There's more than just shooting it. Now you have to skin it, and you have to sell that meat. You could use the meat if you don't want to sell it. If you want to use it for your own cooking,
a meal or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this is the first time I've heard of the hunting system, and it seems pretty cool. To be honest, that's nice.
See, it's interesting because our design is set up in a way that we're able to do really cool systems like that, but it's not very difficult on the programming front. It sounds complicated, but really all we have to do on the programming front is we make these like certain formulas that it follow, and then it just kind of runs itself. So we just basically, our design is, we have these clever ways of doing this. Actually, I can't even take credit for the animal thing, because the design that we base that on is years old. Is from a game designer called, I think, Raf Koster, I believe his name.
Okay.
I think that was it. And he was the lead designer for Ultima Online in the mid 90s.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So they wanted to do a system like this, and we're based on that design at like a really root level, but we've built on it so much, and they weren't able to actually go with it. It didn't really work out well for the game, because like I said, like the animals, they had the same sort of thing where the animals had certain desires, right? And they would have needs. They would get hungry, and they would seek out resources. Like, for example, if I'm a wolf or wolf AI, my variable that says I'm hungry, gets to a critical level, is wandering around. It sees another animal that has meat as its primary resource, so it would kill that and it would eat it, and it wouldn't be hungry anymore. And you actually get this like whole ecosystem running just off this really, really simple design of desires and resources. It's really interesting, and it happens with very minimal amount of work and code. It just kind of runs itself, and it works. They had a problem with it because they had no. I think what happened was they had, like, the predators kind of like took over some areas, and there weren't enough of the prey or something like that, and the predators were starting going into the cities, wandering in there looking for food and that sort of thing.
Whoa.
It's kind of interesting, but yeah, we have our system's a little different, but in the very base general route is similar. But it's
Cool.
interesting though. It's interesting that hunting, something
Yeah.
so simple as that, is going to be involved.
That's pretty awesome. I have a few questions about servers, if you're up for those, actually.
Sure.
We have someone is just wondering if you purchase them or rent them. I'm pretty sure you said that it's all renting and they're all cloud-based, I think.
Yes.
All right. So
you want me to elaborate on the server?
Sure,
renting kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so because we are an MMO and we're not just like a shooter game or something like that, our servers are much bigger than what you could host on your own computer at home. So a single game world could actually be a dozen servers running together to work together as one world. They're going to separate, for example, different zones within there. Will run off different hardware and such. Anyway, because of that, you have to rent. We can't give you just a program to on your own computer.
Okay.
Because it's just can't work that way. So Google's hosting them. All of our servers are going to be Google Cloud hosted, and there's a lot of other benefits to that too, like the fact that it makes it really difficult to do DDoS attacks on them, because you can't just hit one server. If one of our servers got DDoS, went offline, another one would dynamically pop up in its place and take over. So even if say our server, say the Ash Hill server crashed for players, what would happen is you would get like a couple seconds of lag because the server's gone, and then another one would spawn up and take over all the people on that server, and you would just start playing again. So even in a case of a massive fatal server crash, everything would just kind of start working after a couple seconds. It's pretty amazing, really. And that kind of dynamic way of doing things makes it impossible to do anything but rental. So long story, still pretty fucking long, but what I told
Yeah.
her is yeah, you're going to be able to rent servers, and I don't, it's too early to say really how you're going to do that, but it'll be, you know, through our website somewhere most likely, and you're going to be able to control a lot of the settings on there. So many of the gameplay elements are going to be manageable and modifiable through
That's good to hear.
that. Yeah, we want to, well, we totally recognize that the majority of the, probably the best game going to get an identity is going to be on community servers, not on our official ones. I mean, that's what I expect, because we just don't have the manpower to like fully moderate these massive amount of servers. So any community that does well, you know, say you have a community server that's got several hundred people on it, communities tend to have a lot of volunteers and such, take good care of them, you know, force
Yes,
that kind of thing.
for sure. It definitely opens up a lot of customizations to players who might not agree with how the game runs on the official servers, but we're still aiming to have the official servers be very enjoyable. Just people might prefer different death mechanics or things like that, you know?
Exactly. Things like the stress system, for example, were made only with the official servers in mind. Like, we completely expect people to disable stress mechanics. If you're able to enforce rules for how people should play, you know, on like an RP server, for example, then you don't need that sort of mechanic. But on the official servers, we have a lot of systems that keep people from griefing others, you know, to keep it fun. So, yeah, those are made specifically just for the official servers.
Okay.
You can use them on community servers, but you don't have to.
Awesome. I'm not super sure if we've already answered this, but there's another question about servers in the Discord. Someone asks, so is it cheaper in the long run renting a box to set up more than one server, like a server box, rather than renting player slots? I'm not too sure I understand that, but like, I guess, can you rent like a big server box to get like a bunch of different servers? Or
well, no, like, see, that's the traditional way of doing it. So that doesn't really apply to us for cloud-based.
I gotcha.
You can't run it on a box of your own.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, also a question about pledges. So when the new website goes up, you mentioned that maybe we'll have more of a chance to customize what we get when we donate money towards the project, I think.
Yes. It's one of the systems Liam's working beside you is
Awesome.
he's redoing the website in a way that it's not so Kickstarter package kind of, you know, is we're going to sell just little cosmetic things that might even be limited edition or something like that. Just we're able to sell pieces instead of whole packages. And there are still packages you can get where you'll get a good deal by getting more than one thing at a time. But you're going to be able to get just a specific thing you're after on its own if that's what you choose.
Okay. If already pledged and you get like a big bundle, would you be able to maybe customize that bundle with the new site update, or would you just purchase things additional to the bundle?
You can purchase things additionally, but also note that right now the prices are set up in a way that they're quite good
Cheap.
and probably lower. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when this change goes out, any of these that you have through the packages that exist right now, you'll have saved some money. That's for sure. You're not going to get the same things for what you paid before anymore.
Sure. Yeah, I still got to get my pledge down next paycheck. Looking at the racer one.
Yeah, I just saw a shadow saying, "Why doesn't John and Brandon just sit in the same room?"
I wish.
We have one wall between us right now. I don't know why. Actually, we probably should just be sitting in the boardroom talking in the same mic. But
not true. Yeah, I still have to do some Skype calls on that big TV, to be honest.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. But yeah, with the whole leg thing, Marvin Germany. So, and we're running that through him. He's just streaming our audio, talking to him off of his desktop. So it's a bit choppy, but honestly, it's been pretty good recently. our audio quality is not bad. It's a bit like low, but we can be picked up. So yeah, next Tuesday we'll be doing a different artist. We'll try and get a different artist each day for a while, and hopefully we can improve the quality as that goes on. Let's see here. So anything else you want to talk about in particular, John? Because I know you've been super busy with a bunch of stuff, from visas to coding to making sure that the website's
management.
stable, everything.
Yeah, there's nonstop things here. I'm always all over the place. But yeah, I mean, nothing I can think of off the top of my head. If anyone has questions, I'm sure there's tons more things I can talk about.
It's definitely a little quieter today, but I kind of also appreciate that at the same time. The last
questions in the stream.
Yeah, the last CS:GO game day we did had so many. So this is much more reasonable. I guess we can talk a bit about what happens when you log out, because I know someone asked earlier, how do shops work and how does your house work? You know, so is someone still selling stuff in your shop? Is your house accessible? Things like that.
Yeah. So your the way it works is that your shop is being run by an NPC. So if you, I assume here that you're referring to like the storefront shops.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
The retail stores. Yeah. So in that case, the way it works is there's an NPC at the counter, and it's essentially just up to you to keep it stocked. So you'll go up to him and you can add items to his inventory, and he's available 24 hours a day to sell those to the other people. The items that you can sell in your shop are dependent on what your theme is for the store. So when you buy a storefront, you have to choose what kind of store that is, like be it like a store, like an outfitter, you know, whatever it is, and that will change the graphics inside the shop, you know, so it actually looks like the right sort of store, and also it controls what that you can sell in there. And you can actually sell things from your apartment too, but it's not as good. That's
interesting.
Yeah, it's not as good because people can get it faster by going to a store. So yeah, there's sort of like an online, think like Craigslist kind of deal where people can look at all the items that are for sale around there. And
really,
the way it works is that if you buy it online, there's a delay before you get it, so it'll be shipped to you, but it is literally shipped to you, meaning another player on another part of the map has to put the package in a vehicle and drive it to the distribution center near you before you get it. Then if you were to actually just get it yourself, you know, if you're actually going to a store, you could just walk into that store, buy it, and you've got it, you know. So is unless you want to wait. There is actually a time limit on that, though. If you were to buy something online and there's nobody transporting
to ship it,
yeah, it will eventually just appear, but it takes a while, so it's inconvenient.
Gotcha. I'm definitely excited to drive my own rip-off FedEx truck in your beat, delivering packages very quickly. Sounds like a lot of fun. All right, we got some more questions in the chat. Let's start with this one. Everyone's adding me now. So I still want to buy and own a bar. Someone has mentioned it wouldn't be possible. Has this changed, or is this still the case?
A bar?
Yeah,
definitely have a bar.
Really? So
it's sort of like a restaurant, right?
Okay.
The same sort of thing. So it's a different theme. But if it's a bar, yeah, you can sell food and drink out of it.
Mm-hmm. So it's like robot, like, you know, like fronts.
It's the same system. It's exactly the same system.
And then like decorating the interior to fit the bar theme.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Here's another question. Will you have to buy counters, tables, chairs, etc., or is it present just like GTA Online offices?
It depends where you're talking. If you're talking a storefront, then no, you don't have to do that. It's just part of the purchase of the storefront. And when you choose your theme, that furnishes it appropriately. Things like in the player housing system, you know, in Grand Theft, say you get like a nice penthouse, it's all kind of done for you. Everything's static. You can't really change it, which kind of sucks. But in Identity, no, like you'll see in that video, you actually have to place down all the furniture yourself, and you can even change all the lighting. You know, it's incredibly customizable. So every apartment's going to look a little bit different.
Okay. Okay, that's good. One more quick question. Talking a bit about animations. What animations will be available for your characters, like surrendering, clapping, or even closing your eyes and the screen goes black?
Yeah, so there's a few things like that. You can surrender. In fact, that's a pretty important thing when it comes to like the stress system and robbing people. You can put your hands behind your head, that kind of thing. There's a lot of emotes that are just kind of there for social reasons too. And you'll get access to a bunch of those even just in Town Square. I think we've all like at least a dozen of them probably right now.
Nice.
Things like waving, handshakes. We have two different kinds of emotes. We have like the standard kind that you see in other games where it just plays an animation or a sound, and then we have these. I forget what what we termed it, but essentially we have these shared emotes where you initiate an emote on another player and then they can accept it. Things like a handshake. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's really neat because that allows us to actually put your hands together and do a proper animation, So yeah.
Oh, you guys definitely have to do rock paper scissors if possible.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, that's good. It'll help decide on some dispute internally. On that note, we talked a bit about having a casino in previous streams. What kind of gambling games would you like to see implemented?
I think quite a few. Straight off the bat, when we initially go live with the casino, it'll probably be blackjack and slots at the very least. But
Okay.
There's many other kinds that we'd be interested in adding. Like it's one of those things that we want to keep constantly expanding on, adding more and more.
Yeah, because people love gambling, man. It's fun. It's awful, but it's fun.
It is. There's also lottery tickets too. So.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you want to give the spiel on this, but I found it very amusing.
Oh, you mean about like our experience with?
Yeah.
Well, when we did Altus Life, we added lottery tickets at one point pretty early on, where you could go to a gas station, you could buy a lottery ticket, and I just thought it was just gonna be the stupid little money sink thing I do, maybe some of their money on it. But we're surprised that the wealthiest people in our community went completely broke, just trying to like buy one ticket after. I think they bought like hundreds of tickets trying to win and fail, and then eventually that one lucky guy, he'll walk in there and buy one ticket and make millions of dollars. So.
Yeah.
It's funny. A lot of people they go pretty crazy with the gambling kind of thing, which is amusing. I mean, it's fun to watch. But
cool. Yeah. Let's see here. I got one from the Discord. Will first-person mode and third-person mode all be animated separately, similar to GTA 5 or many of Bethesda's titles, or will it just be a new angle of the camera?
It's sort of a new angle of the camera. The animations are roughly the same thing, but it kind of attaches your camera to the face sort of thing.
Okay.
So you can still look around, you see your body and all that, and the animations are pretty much the same.
Cool. Here someone's asking for some clarification on the storefronts. He says, so this means what John said, that when you buy a storefront and, for example, choose restaurant, the interior is preset for you. So this means that there will be the same 4,000 restaurants.
Well, we will likely have more than one restaurant like there will be different styles that you could go for decor and that sort of thing. But yeah, like keep in mind here, the reason it has is these are not instants like an apartment or a house. This is out in the world. So when you are driving down the street, you're driving by a dozen of these stores. We could never transmit all the data for like custom wallpapers and different furniture placed all over, for every one that you come up on, right? Like it'd just be way too much data. So technically speaking, that's why. So it's a difference of sending like, hundreds of packets for going by hundreds of pieces of variables essentially going by a store versus one, So for performance reasons, it's a no-brainer. That's why we went with the with that system.
Yes, Today Motown and others were discussing a bit about why we couldn't use customization like outdoors and things like that. Why you can't just build a house somewhere, because it would just kill the network. It would. We're kind of just finding a happy medium between having a good connection and giving players options, because it would be if there are just all these different non-instance like things everywhere across the
like
land. So.
Take a look at like all those survival games out there, things like Rust, or even like the old original DayZ mod. When the servers would go up, everything would run great. But when you're like 1 month in or 2 months in, when all this stuff has been populated, it's almost unplayable. And that's why they have to wipe these servers. Like Conan Exiles, I think they still wipe the servers frequently. And you do that because there's so much data in there all over the place, just at random, that eventually it's just too much. The limit of technology. I mean, so our design is done in a way that doesn't happen. We don't want that to ever be a problem for us.
No. Especially when you have like 500 people in a server, right? It sounds like a lot of fun. All right, so someone's curious in chat about the business model for the game. Is it a one-time buy, monthly subscriptions, DLC, microtransactions, free updates, etc.?
Yep, one-time buy with free updates, and there are microtransactions, but they're purely cosmetic. You're never going to get an advantage over somebody else through a microtransaction, that's for sure.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, there's no subscription needed.
Awesome. That's very good. Here's another one. Will there be actual books you can buy, or only player-written novels?
There's like books, like existing books. A lot of actually pretty cool ones too. Public domain books with a lot of the classics are in there. You'll get that in Town Square, even library.
Awesome. Yeah. Also looking forward to watching those public domain movies in the cinema.
Me too. There's some really good movies, like I never really watched them before this, but I think it's going to be fun to watch them all with other people. There's like, they're old, but they're really entertaining. Like they're actually good movies.
Do you have any off the top of your head that you remember just wanting to add, or?
Oh, God, I'd have to look at our list. We have tons in there playing right now. I mean, the main one always comes to mind for me is Night of the Living Dead. Like that's a classic right there. But
Nice.
God, there's so many of them. But I can't really think of most of the names, because the names are always weird. Like, I'm talking like Teenagers from Mars or something like that. I think that is actually a movie.
Yeah.
But they're funny. They're hilarious, actually.
True. Yeah. So Shadowstar asks, so I got the $60 version with a rusted car, but the next two versions up come with a bike instead. What makes the bikes better aside from the quality of it?
Speed. The rusted car is slower. The bikes will really get you from A to B at like twice the speed, probably. There are benefits to both, but really overall, the bike is an improvement for sure.
That's good.
You might the dirt bike too. One of the things that makes the dirt bike good is that it off-roads very well. So if you're doing things like you're cutting wood, you're picking apples, or anything that's taking place off the road, you're going to get around a lot faster.
Okay, that's cool. We have another quick question. Can servers add their own script?
Custom script, no, but we do eventually want to add full modding support with custom assets and everything, but that's going to be after release. So. But it's one of those things that we want to do, but we have no idea when it's going to become feasible.
Yeah, I know I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but decustomization that comes with PC gaming is like one of the major perks of PC gaming, and giving players the freedom to be able to customize their experience within reasonable limits, like that's a big deal. So modding support would be a huge plus once we get that going.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, lots of questions now. I see @ signs everywhere. This is back about the shops. If a business is inactive, will the owner have it removed from them and it goes back on the market?
Yeah. The shops do have sort of like a rental maintenance upkeep kind of thing. And that is because there's a limited amount of them too. You're going to run into that even with the housing, like the world housing, not apartments.
Okay.
anything that's got a limited number, you kind of have to have something like that.
Cool. Let's see here. Oh, well, this is kind of general, but any idea on when we'll get the new dev blog? I guess just in general terms of where the project is heading and things like that.
Well, it'll be towards the end of the month because it'll probably be around the time that we're doing our announcement for the release date. So, in fact, it'll probably be at the exact same time. Yeah, a little later in the month than normal. But
cool, yeah. The leaves are falling out there, getting close to Halloween. It's
yeah,
gonna be good. Will I be writing the dev blog for you, or will I be proofreading it?
you probably proofread it at least. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited. I just love writing.
Well, that's good. You're in the right job then. You do a lot of it.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Jadar Light is asking some stuff about resolution and things like that. In terms of graphics settings, how different will the discrepancy be between like lowest quality and like highest quality options?
Pretty big, actually. Really, we want to make sure that as many people can play as possible. So
yes.
Yeah. I mean, we love doing quality stuff. In fact, a lot of our assets are being made with like future proofing in mind. So we make a lot of things better than we can even realistically have in the game on a lot of cases, so that in the future we can improve them, you know, when hardware improves. Because it's easy to go down in quality, not so much you can't go up in without remaking it. So, but yeah, sure. We have a lot of that in place right now, where we want to make sure that people on lower end computers can still play fine. We just, you know, it's a balancing act between that and making sure that lower quality settings don't give any kind of advantage, you know, as far as playing goes. Like a lot of games, you know,
when you're like
or something.
Yeah, when you're prone in a field of grass on lowest settings, it's just like plain. Yeah,
exactly that kind of thing.
See someone poking out. Yeah, I guess this is also might give some optimism toward in the very far future console port, perhaps, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, it's barely even a maybe. Like at this point, we're going to do everything we can to hit consoles after release.
Ooh, that's just great news.
Really comes down to things like licensing and publishing and all that kind. So
yeah,
identity. I mean, as you've probably already heard us talking about this in the office, you know, we're trying to make things console friendly right off the bat. Even Town Square will be controller friendly.
Oh, really? Will it have like, if I plug in an Xbox One controller, will it kind of recognize that, or?
Yep. Yeah, you'll be able to play that.
Oh, wow. Good for scrubs like me who can't aim with mouse.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like that, right? Like we're making everything so that when it does become possible to go to consoles, it would be as painless as possible.
Awesome. Papa Hedge asks, are there any plans to have a seasonal weather system, or will it be the generic day and night stuff?
At first, it will be night stuff, only because, I mean, you're talking a pretty large amount of work. So that's just not one of the things that's worth, well, we don't consider being worth the time delaying the game, you know, over something like that. So that would be a great thing to have down the road, though, as maybe some kind of like a DLC. Well, I say DLC, but when I say that, don't be thinking that we're charging for it. I'm literally thinking downloadable
just
content.
Like updates,
an update. Yeah, exactly.
From yesterday, I know Motan mentioned that we're going to try and shoot for like maybe special events on holidays, maybe, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
For sure. That kind of thing is always fun. Like anything like Easter eggy, you know.
Yeah.
For the special events. We love our Easter eggs, so.
Any tips on maybe what kind of Easter eggs you're thinking of, or way too early? I
well,
guess.
You know, like that's the thing. We've already put so many Easter eggs out there. One seems to have noticed in our videos and stuff. So I like leaving that up to people. I mean, as far as I know, there's a lot of things there that no one's ever come to me and say, "Oh, I saw that." Yeah, I like leaving that up there to be discovered.
Nice, yeah. Well, maybe we'll find some more in the next video whenever that's up.
Breaking Bad Easter egg in a game. There's a Breaking Bad Easter egg on the wall behind me right now, actually.
What?
Well, you know, the concept art on the wall in my office.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool. The concept art held up everywhere in the office. That's pretty sick to be here. Okay. So yeah, we're only pretty much 10 minutes left, so we'll start wrapping this up soon. But I'll try and get through as many questions as possible without overloading John. Let's see here. Yes, at DK, the stream will end at 5. I guess I kind of just answered that. Graphic settings and requirements. We don't really know the requirements yet. Medium end card nowadays could be low end in the future, but optimization can improve that. It's still a ways off to know what exactly the lowest in the recommended system specs will be, but as John just discussed earlier, we definitely want it to be pretty accessible even on the lower end systems. Scrolling. Man, I missed a lot of the chat. Oops. It was not auto-scrolling. Mayor asks, how dark will the game be at night? I hope it's dark enough to where things like light posts and headlights actually make a difference.
Yeah, it'll be light enough, or sorry, dark enough that you know there'll be no question that it's nighttime. That's for sure. There is a point where it gets too dark, but we don't want to go dark to the you know, to the point that you can't see without a flashlight or something like that. It's a little too. So we want to make sure that when nighttime hits, you can still do what you want to do, but it will definitely be a lot darker. That was a big problem actually that we had with the Mortal Online, the last game that I worked on. Yeah, they had really dark nights, and when you think about it, you're thinking, "Oh, that's so cool! The atmosphere would be great," and it was. But the problem was that when it was that dark, it was so much harder to play that, like, literally, probably a third of the people online would just log off and not come back until an hour later when it was getting light. So it really kind of hurt the game. So you have to be careful how far you go. The game has to stay fun and playable. That's the problem. So it'll go dark, but not crazy dark.
Is that also maybe a reason as to why it's like 4 light to like 1 hour of nighttime?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, it's reasonable.
And that, you know, those numbers are subject to change too. But,
yeah,
but
like more light than dark. That's what you're going for.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, here's one. Aren't you worried about the game feeling empty with no NPCs or very little?
You know, people ask that quite a bit, and I really don't think that's a real problem. Even, okay, let's just take this to our mod before.
Yeah.
So in Cultist Life, we didn't find it felt, you know, empty then even, and that was 100 people at most in a big world. So when we're talking, you know, hundreds of people in a slightly smaller landmass, no, I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. See, I think a lot of the people that have that question are Grand Theft Auto players who are used to seeing ambient life just all over the place. You know, people walking down the street talking. Yeah, you'll find that you don't really, and it's actually more immersive to not have it. It might sound counterintuitive hearing that, but when you see somebody and you know it's a real player, it's different. Like these AI in Grand Theft Auto, they're fluff. They don't do anything. They're just sitting there for, you know, for the look of them, essentially. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when you see someone walking down the street, you know, you can walk up to them, you can play with them, you can interact with them, you could rob them, or you could make him a friend and get his phone number. And, like, it's a totally different experience. And the only people who really understand what I mean, I think, are probably people who have played games like that before. Games like the Life series, or, you know, there's actually quite a few of them out there, but I don't think that it's going to be a problem at all. Mm-hmm. And you know, that said, like, it's not an empty server, or like we can have huge populations going. We can we're not limited technically so much in our server population as we are just by design. So when we number of players per server. It's going to be based off what we think is a good, fun player density. You know, so there will be people, definitely be people around.
Yeah, I'd also like to contribute something to that. Like, even if you have, if you're comparing, like, you have a huge density of AI in GTA, like, let's say 200 walking down the road, and you see, like, maybe 10 or 20 in Identity, each one of those characters has a history. There's a lot behind them, and the fact that you can interact with them, that they're human, players with, as I said, a history, their own roles, their own goals, their own, like, aspirations. It's very different because it's not fluff. It's like they're actually there, and there's all this stuff you can.
Exactly.
So,
it's like saying it makes it truly immersive, right? Because you feel like you're part of this world, and you're not just a person that's in the world. It's a totally different experience.
Awesome. Here's a quick one. How long is the jail time? How many minutes?
Well, that depends on what you did. Typically, I think right now, and this is another number that's subject to change with playtesting, but currently is set to 45 minutes as a max penalty. So that's 45 minutes that you are stuck in jail, and that is, if you killed somebody, it's something significant, right? That said, there are ways to do it sooner. Your friends might do a prison break, or maybe you have a lawyer friend online and you have a trial and you're found innocent for one reason or another. Or maybe you might even just want to stay in prison. Like when your term's up, you don't have to leave. Actually, you can stay in the prison longer if you choose to. Because we have a lot of really cool mechanics in the prison, and we fully expect some people to just want to kind of make a life in the prison entirely. Like some people might spend more time in than out by choice. So that's there too. There's a lot of cool stuff like gang. There's like sort of like a gang faction warfare system going on. So inside the prison, I mean, really small crime. Like if you didn't pay a parking ticket, which is actually a real thing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even go to prison for that. You go to a jail. So there's one prison, but then there's several jails. So you might just get like 5 minutes in jail for something like that. It's more of an inconvenience than anything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here's a bit of an interesting question. Talking about what happens when the particular server you're used to is full. First of all, can you still pursue your career in a different server and do like pledge rewards transfer between servers, things like that?
Pledge rewards can. Well, there's different kinds, right? Some of them. I have to go. There's someone at the door here for us right now, but I'll be right back.
Sure, I'll handle this for now. Yeah, we've been getting lots of people heading into the office, advertising and just basically doing general work. I think this is the coffee guy. I see like a huge Tassimo or something. So we're about to wrap up. There's been a lot of questions in the last 30 minutes. Thanks to Cyber in the chat for actually answering some of them along with the mods and everyone who's been following. It's a big help. But yeah, Marvin's been doing pretty well on this lamp. Like it's I didn't think this much would get done. Then again, I'm not used to art streams, but hope you guys have enjoyed your time. We're not cutting it off right now, but probably when John gets back, we'll call it a day because we do have to clock out at 5. But yes, we know people really want to see gameplay, and while we don't have anything polished to show you guys in terms of that just yet, we do really want to make sure that you guys know that the pledges and things like going towards work and just making the game a tangible reality. Because while we have been doing the gaming hour streams for a long time now, only recently I've been taking Twitch clips and posting them to Facebook, and it's definitely rubbed some people the wrong way just in terms of us, playing a game that's not ours. A lot of the YouTubers I've been speaking with have loved the Twitch clip. We're going to be formulating Q&As around them. It's been a really good resource just to grab information at a glance for people who either can't follow the stream or basically just hang around. So I will keep doing that, but I really want to try and focus on doing that during our streams or just doing anything identity related, because really do want to we're hard at work. Once again, our team is only, I think, maybe it's a little over a dozen people, maybe a little under 20, but definitely it's it's a small crew with a big heart, and we are making progress. And we really hope to get. Well, we will be announcing the release date of Module 1 before November. So definitely be looking forward to that. So many questions in the chat still. I'm so sorry. I don't have the knowledge Motown did. I'm sorry. See if anything I can answer. But yeah, I'll be continuously trying to get things up on Facebook, on Twitter. There's always some art being done that I can probably tweet out. Really, I'll just be trying to keep you guys entertained and make sure that you all know that we're alive, because we have been dark for a while. We kind of dropped the ball on that, which is the whole reason why me and to keep you guys occupied and happy that we are doing things. But yeah, gameplay, we know we need to get it out. We just have to make it look good first. Yeah, it is 5 o'clock now. I think on Tuesday we have our one of our newest members, Philippe. He will be streaming. Then on Wednesday we'll have Lee. Pretty sure you guys have seen some work from him before. He's been a member for a while. And then I forget who we have scheduled Thursday, but the week after that I'm going to try and get the guy who did the really cool looking model of the gaming chair. I think I posted that to Twitter, and we have just a lot of artists lined up. So doing that. And I think John will be going back on the call now soon, maybe.
All right. Sorry about that.
Awesome. Yeah, pretty much. I guess we can wrap up now. It's past 5.
Yes. Do you remember what that question was? I can give that one an answer since I left it kind of hanging there.
I honestly.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess so. Actually, no. Probably not tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow's Friday.
Oh, duh. Sorry.
Yeah.
Next stream, Tuesday.
That's right.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys all Tuesday. Special thanks to Marvin for doing this amazing work really fast.
Yeah, that's looking good. Really like the base at the bottom, actually.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with art streams, but the fact that he's made this much progress for a task he was given specifically for the stream, that's pretty good. So yeah, Marvin, whenever you want to, you can save and cut the stream feed because we're all on your end. But we'll go ahead and leave the Skype call now. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll keep you posted with news. Have a great one, everyone.
Have a good weekend, guys.
See ya.